CNN, even one alcoholic drink a day can raise risk of stroke, study says. BBC, even one drink a day can increase stroke risk, study finds. The Lancet, conventional and genetic evidence on alcohol and vascular disease. What's that word? I don't know. A prospective study of 500,000 men and women in China. Contradicting previous claims that moderate drinking could prevent strokes, other diseases, and conditions, the new study published in The Lancet links even low levels of alcohol consumption with increased blood pressure that can lead to strokes. UK and Chinese researchers followed 500,000 Chinese people for 10 years. The researchers found that drinking 1 to 2 alcoholic drinks every day increased stroke risk by 10 to 15%, and drinking 4 drinks every day increased the risk of having a stroke by 35%. For the purposes of their study, one drink was defined as either a small glass of wine, a bottle of beer, a single measure of spirits. The study also found no evidence of light or moderate drinking having a protective effect. In other words, reducing the risk of stroke. This study, What do you think about this study? A lot of alcohol stuff.
Yeah.
Popped up in the weeks here.
I found it funny that they study Chinese people for a very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that some of them have, as you probably colloquially will know, Asian flush.
Mm-hmm.
So they studied the people that had this genetic variability where they're unable to process alcohol.
Yeah.
And because that keeps them from drinking alcohol a lot. Because a lot of these people that have really severe Asian flush don't drink alcohol because it's unpleasant to them. So then they were really able to kind of study these long-term effects as opposed to trying to study people that might have variable alcohol consumption patterns. And so, they really found that it's associated with about an increase of 8% of one type of stroke and a 16% of intracerebral hemorrhages. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then they also use that genetic effects to figure out the cardiovascular risk as well.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But of course, it may not be applicable as much to other genetic populations, but still interesting.
Yep. Everything in moderation. That's whenever I'm asked about alcohol, I always say everything in moderation, especially with alcohol.
Yeah.
Moderation, very little. Science Daily. Berkeley soda tax election changed drinking habits months before prices went up. The analysis revealed that economic inquiry, Soda Wars, the effect of a soda tax election on university beverage sales. The analysis revealed that soda sales dropped an average of 10 to 20% in the 3 months immediately following the vote, before the tax and any associated price hikes went into effect. The result indicated the contentious Berkeley versus Big Soda campaign and the ultimate vote in favor of the tax were able to lower soda sales in the city. In this case, an election really worked to change consumption before a price change, said Socia Villas-Boas, professor of agricultural and resource economics at UC Berkeley and senior author of the paper in the journal Economic Inquiry. A big takeaway from our study is that if you replicate a soda tax or some other similar measure in a different city, you might not witness the same consumption results if you didn't have a campaign and election lead up to the actual tax implementation, said Scott Kaplan, a graduate student and co-author of this paper. Bam. What do you think?
Why don't we just have campaigns then instead of taxes?
And I was, what that made me think of, the soda tax, the gas tax here in California that originally nobody voted for it to be implemented. The government just said, here you go. We're implementing this gas tax. And then we tried to repeal it. And then, of course, it didn't get repealed.
It doesn't help that the wording on that was so convoluted.
Yeah, I know. Vote no to repeal. Or no, vote yes to repeal. So yes means no, but no means yes. They like to do that.
I forgot.
Inverse. 3 common diets are cutting 1 in 5 human life short every year. New York Times, Eat Your Veggies study finds poor diets linked to 1 in 5 deaths. The Lancet. Health effects of dietary risk in 195 countries. 1990 to 2017, a systematic analysis for the Global Burden of Disease Study, 2017. An assessment of how many people die from disease in countries around the world each year. Funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the authors set out to find just how many deaths and lost years of life could actually be attributed to unhealthy eating habits annually. Poor diet can mean a lot of things, but the study allowed the authors to boil it down to 3 major inadequacies: too much salt, not enough whole grains, and not enough fruit. In 2017, High intake of sodium was responsible for 3 million deaths worldwide. Low intake of whole grains also led to 3 million deaths. And low intake of fruits led to 2 million deaths. Other issues included diets that didn't have enough nuts and seeds, vegetables, omega-3s from seafood, or fiber, along with many other components. In 2017, more than half of diet-related deaths and 2/3 of diet-related disability-adjusted life years were attributed to high intake of sodium, the team writes. Sodium was a top risk factor for East Asian countries like China, Japan, Indonesia, and Thailand, nations whose cuisine is heavily reliant on salty sauces and pastes.
I don't know how the U.S. didn't get mentioned for our love of fast food, salty fast food.
Yeah, we do have a lot of salty food.
That's the problem with eating out, is you consume way more sodium than you realize.
Yes, especially at Applebee's. Their sodium is off. Oh my gosh, their food's so salty. Oh, it's the worst. Yeah. All right, moving on. CNN, the land of immortals. How and what Japan's oldest population eats. And there's a video, and yeah.
People talk about longevity genes. What I now know is that we probably all have these longevity genes. The genes need to be activated. It's kind of like saying, you know, we have the blueprint of the house. We all have the same blueprint of the house, but now we're going to start laying in the raw materials and building the actual house itself. In this case, the genes that you have are the blueprint, and the raw ingredients are certain foods. And you find that in Japan, the sort of staple diet tends to activate these genes. There's a reason why foods like bitter melon have been preserved and passed down for generations in a place like Japan. They intuitively knew that this food was somehow good for you.
Interesting. Pretty cool. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I think. Got a follow-up?
They call her Umeto-san. She's nearly 100 years old. She's 97. The way that she moves, the pace at which she walks, the smile, the energy she has. She said that her heart felt like she was 20 years old. No evidence of disease whatsoever, and a really, really healthy outlook on life. What are we having for dinner?
Goya champuruk. Goya.
I think the secret in Okinawa, where people are more likely to live to 100 than many other places around the world, is the way that they eat. Can you put your hands like this? It's amazing. I probably have more of a tremor than she does. The way that they approach aging overall, the elderly are revered, their wisdom is solicited, they seem to have more purpose in life. And then obviously someone like Umeto-san, she has this incredible tight social circle and these activities like dancing and singing, which definitely keep her younger at heart.
If you ask anyone in Okinawa why they live so long, you will doubtlessly hear two words, aikigi and moai. Aikigi, loosely translated, means sense of purpose in life, a person's aikigi. Aikigi often grows as they get older. It is the reason for living, that thing that propels them out of bed in the morning. In the United States, people often retire in their mid-60s, but there isn't a similar word in Japanese because the concept of retirement doesn't even exist. Moai is an informal social group of people who have common interests and look out for each other. Your moai is your tribe, and another reason Okinawans believe they live so long. Hara Hichibu, translation, stop eating when you are 80% full. With Hara Hichibu, the philosophy is that you should still be a little hungry when you push the plate away. Okinawans typically eat 7 different fruits and vegetables and 18 different foods a day, and more than 200 different foods and spices regularly in their overall diet. In the United States, we are lucky to consume a dozen fruits and vegetables. A dozen different foods in our regular daily diet total.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yes.
She looked great.
Oh, she
Plus,
moved.
That's really important, I think, about finding your tribe, trying to build your community.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
Oh,
it's just social circles. It is what it is, and we keep saying the social circles. These are all really important. We're losing sight of that with the phones and technology and all these social bull BS.
Oh yeah, there were some other interesting things. One thing they did mention was the bento box style of eating.
Yes.
So small portions, lots of different fruits, vegetables.
Yes.
Yeah. And then one thing that really caught me though is the elderly there are still widely revered, but there are fewer of them, and they are less often living to 100 than in decades past. Still, the land of immortals reminds us of what is possible whether you live in Okinawa or anywhere else in the world. I thought that was kind of interesting that less of them are living to 100, even this more modern age. So it's kind of suggesting that our habits are becoming unhealthier.
Yeah.
And we need to just go back to living simply, enjoying one another's company. Of course,
I need to do some
having
research
a good diet.
because I have a friend who's from a small Mexican village, and people there live until 90 to 100 easy.
Well, it's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
They keep active. They're riding horses every day. That's all very important.
Very interesting.
And just like
We're corrupting our bodies, our minds, our souls. We're corrupting everything.
We got to feed our bodies good food, medicine, not medicate later.
Yes. Not related, or maybe it is. CNN, about 1 in 4 Japanese adults in their 20s and 30s are virgins, study says. Public health experts at the University of Tokyo found that sexual inexperience was on the rise in the country, with the percentage of women aged 18 to 39 who've never had sex rising to 24.6% in 2015 from 21.7% in 1992. The change was greater for men of the same age, with 25.8% virgins in 2015, up from 20% in 1992. By comparison, surveys from the UK and the United States and Australia suggest that rates of heterosexual inexperience are between 1% to 5% of adults and are about their 30s. The researchers based their nationwide estimate on data from 7 national fertility studies conducted over 3 decades. Each drew on the responses of between 11,553 and 17,859 adults, ages 18 to 39.
Very interesting.
I just wanted to, that popped up today, and I said I have got to throw that in there.
Did it say why?
I actually don't know. Here's the study if you want to read it.
I'll have to look at
I read the conclusions, but didn't actually say why.
So if anyone's looking for a virgin, go to Japan.
Well,
JK.
I would love to go to Japan, though. I will say that. I've always wanted to visit.
Yeah, now you'll really want to.
Do they have Tinder in Japan from the chat room? They sure do. They sure do. Science Daily, just an hour of weekly walking staves off disability. Just 1 hour a week of brisk walking, as if you are late to an appointment or trying to make a train, staves off disability in older adults with arthritis, pain, or aching or stiffness in a knee, hip, ankle, or foot, reports a new Northwestern medicine study. This is less than 10 minutes a day for people to maintain their independence. It's very doable, said lead author Dorothy Dunlap, professor of preventive medical medicine at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. This minimum threshold may motivate inactive old adults to begin their path toward a physically active lifestyle with the wide range of health benefits promoted by physical activity. Study investigators analyzed 4 years of data from more than 1,500 adults in the National Osteoarthritis Initiative from Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Pawtucket, Rhode Island. These adults all had pain, aching, or stiffness in lower extremity joints from osteoarthritis, but were free of disability when they began the study. Their physical activity was monitored using accelerometers. The study found an hour of weekly moderate to vigorous physical activity allowed older adults to maintain their ability to perform daily tasks like getting dressed or cross a street before a traffic light walk signal changed. The weekly hour of exercise reduced their risk of mobility disability, walking too slowly to safely cross a street or less than 1 meter per second, by 85%, and their risk of activities of daily living disability, difficulty performing morning routine tasks such as walking across the room, bathing, and dressing, by almost 45%. Walk more.
Yeah.
Moral of the story.
And another moral of the story, small changes every day. Consistency is key.
Small changes.
Also, I need to pick up my walking pace, apparently.
Yes.
I walk slow.
You walk a little slow. You also have very short legs.